reason we're here today is actually that problem that Mike's screwing with right there. My steering is very loose because at the bottom of your steering box is a Pitman arm that goes to your tie rods. That Pitman arm rests on a spline shaft coming off the bottom of your power steering unit. The spline shaft, I'm told, is fine. You've seen this problem. You haven't heard this problem, you've seen this problem.
It's a major problem.
So the spline shaft is fine according to these experts, Mike, but the Pitman arm has apparently worn out. That's why I've got so much slop and play. So J Parts, and we'll show you a clip of that part, has this replaceable Pitman arm that clamps onto the...
Yep, two spots on top.
Yeah, clamps onto the spline shaft versus the stock unit, which this is a 2017. I think for 2 years they made a nut adapter or nut hold on the Pitman arm on the bottom of that spline shaft. So we're going to replace that part and show you guys how to do it on your machines if you need to. The reason it's torn down in the back is because at round 2, Mikey and I were racing together on lap 2. I suffered a mechanical. What I now figured out was my throttle position sensor, my TPS. Something happened when I took that hard hit. Now on camera it didn't look like much, but I made frame on rock contact at the bottom of that creek crossing, and it caused something electrical to go. I thought it was either electrical or fuel pump related. So I did do a fuel test where I put a pressure gauge in line. You pull one of your fuel injectors and just run a pressure gauge in line and let the machine run for a period of time, shut it down and see if it holds pressure. Everything looked normal, everything looked good. 151 pounds of pressure is what CanAm calls for, so we met those marks. Moving on to the electrical issue, my technician from Pitman Sales and Service suggested a TPS reset. That's what we did, and she seems to be running better. I still have to hook it up to Buds 2 to check for faults codes and erase those, as well as see if there's any other faults that the machine kicked on and it wasn't just a TPS issue. But for this video, we're going to focus on getting that steering issue fixed and go try it. Have I talked enough? Should I shut the F up and...
Yes, let's go.
Can I film you do it all, or do I have to help?
I mean, if you don't, give me the path.
That is your Pitman arm, if I can get it to come into focus. So right in here is your power steering unit, and at the bottom of it sits a Pitman arm. And underneath the Pitman arm is just a threaded post going into the threaded shaft that the Pitman arm sits on. So you can see the bottom of the Pitman arm there tied into the tie rods of the machine. We need to disconnect all that. My guess is remove one shock and A-arm up two to make it easier. Either way, front tires are going to come off. So we'll start there. Next step will be removing tie rods. And then thirdly, we'll try to get access to that nut that holds it all together there. We'll lean the front radiator forward and out of the way. Shouldn't have to disconnect anything. But Mike, move the actual bars for me. We'll see if we can't show. So you can see
just the tires, look. See all the play in there?
Yeah. So that's the part we got a ton of play in. There's some wiring that's loose here on the gas tank. I gotta tidy that up. I kind of had it out of my way checking for problems when that TPS sensor quit on me. And that sits, I believe, right here. I think this is the problem. So if it acts up again today after we fix the steering issue and I go for a test ride, I think this is the sensor. It might be even up here in the throttle body itself. I've got to address one of those issues there. Eureka! So this one nut holds your Pitman arm for the 2017, 2018 Renegade 1000 models. And that is your only thing holding the Pitman arm. So we're gonna pull it off now. Hopefully she comes out smoothly. See if we get it. Oh, can't. We gotta do the inside. Yeah, there's a clamp holding it on. We'll get that off next. All right, we got our tie rods off. Radiator was moved up out of the way to get the clamp off, so the Pitman arm should be able to be released right now. I'm gonna get on the other side here and see if Mike can't yank that off. Actually, my best shot might be right through here. Go ahead, Mike. I think I got it loose enough for you after a year and a half of racing. Oh. It's coming.
A little bit. You know what it is? All the water gets in there and shit. And then
yeah. Pop the bulb in half, twist it so we can separate it.
What's that?
Get the ball off of there. Pop your bulb off. That's what you're getting hung up on. It's still in the bracket of the frame.
This thing?
Yeah, so twist that so you can separate the halves. There you go. Now push the other one around so it... I think what's happening is that ball... There you go.
Yeah, hang on.
There we go. That ball that it pivots in and gets clamped to the frame. Boom! That was our issue.
Got it.
Holding that Pitman arm in place. Now let's take a look.
See, your splines are perfect.
Let's take a look here in the light, Mike. What this look like. So that's what's getting worn out is the inside of that.
Yeah, because look. See, when this goes on onto the splines, there's nothing clamping this onto the splines.
Right.
Okay? It's a bad design by CanAm.
Which is why they changed it.
Right, and it just sits there. But even the 19s and newer all do the same thing too. It's just a bad design. The 19s, they put a bolt here
Yes.
to clamp it on, but it's not enough.
It's not strong enough. So let's compare it. So here's the J part one. And just to see the difference there, the clamping area is going to be held down real tight with.
Even if you look closely, the hole is smaller.
Oh yeah.
See it?
Yep. Wow, it is much tighter.
Yeah.
And that's the slop I have in my steering.
Yep.
They don't look too bad, do they?
No, they're perfectly fine.
But it is threaded on the bottom. You can see there the threads right here. Those threads. And that's how the 17 and the, I believe the 17 and the 18s, right?
No,
Or maybe it's
2012 to 17 were like this.
Oh, really?
Yes.
It wasn't just 2 years of that.
Nope, and then 18 to now is the new kind.
The new kind. But Mike's recommendation is we took the inside of the tie rods off, and we're going to mate those using red Loctite to the new J Parts Pitman arm. So we have our, what would you call it, tie rod end? We have our tie rod end already on the Pitman arm before we install the Pitman arm onto the spline of the power steering unit. So we're just going to go ahead and remove the second one here and Loctite it on the new part, so it's one less step we have to do on the machine.
Loading, track with the lyrics like I'm bowling. Pushing on, keep rolling. And then when I listen, but I told him one more time. Your favorite MCs, bronze or silver. These raps here are golden. Cards on the table, there's no folding. Spit bars at the class, rolling. TikTok come to London, get ripped off. Man, get pissed off when I start lift off. Sweet like flavors, cookie and biscuit. Round here, yeah, the bars I get ripped off. Picked up my song,
Then the J Parts bushings that are way better than the stock CanAm bushings.
Here's a stock one.
And that's just, you know, if you squeeze it, look. This is just a piece of like rubber, basically.
Yeah.
This is
Much thicker material.
plastic, yeah. You know, it goes together like that. We put the rollings in there. And then this is greasable now. So you know how yours was squeaking? See how dry it is in here?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It puts a little resistance on your steering, so this will make it nice.
Just Loctite, red Loctiting these
And then he's gonna impact
Yeah, it's
them on
clear,
there
it's
so those
evident. Yeah, I
suckers
don't
don't
mind,
come
I'll do it
off.
for the hell of it, yeah. Elevate bars, I regulate, yeah. You keep it up, the king just meditate. Better get it by now, then it kinda late. Man thinks he's a bad man, but he's kinda bait. Live every day like it's my last celebrate. Mind on the task, we calibrate. Loaded, back to the lyrics like I'm bowling.
All right, those are definitely on there now.
Put some cotter keys in, and we're ready to reinstall it on the machine.
You back these vibes, here I go there. Cards on the table, there's no folding. Spit more than I can't zoning. That's irrelevant, memory like an elephant. Keep it hard, but you know that it's elegant. Get mad, but always benevolent. Always moving, not just leveling. Constantly telling them, rhyming, breathing. Cycle through these sheets, I'm pedaling. Hibernating them bombs, she's back again. Oh, cause the little fire in the track again. Turn the music on, vibe like an icon. Yeah, if you bump up, we can go psycho. Head to head, bar to bar, to the mic on. Turn the music up, vibe like an icon. Who's the icon?
Wow, look at that.
Just slide back. That.
Just like your stock one would. That slid right on there pretty nice. Now, is it difficult? Oh, I don't think it's that difficult to reach the bolts at the top. It's hard to see them with the camera. Yeah, I mean, look, they're accessible to tighten up the 2 bolts. They're right at the top there.
Perfect.
Nice.
Okay, so we'll keep that like that. Let's put our bracket back on. And I'm not gonna tighten them all the way yet.
Okay.
I just want to get them on a little bit.
Yep.
Because we might have to. Alright, now we're gonna put that nut up in there.
Yep. Checking the steering. So far, everything seems to be moving freely.
Do you want to? This is nylon. Do you want red lock tightener?
Just a dab. We'll put a little dab of red Loctite on the actual locking nut that holds it up onto the spline. So Mike has the nut inside the socket, and we use a short extension to try to get the threads starting up there. You're flying blind, you can't tell if angle is right or not, so you gotta be careful not to cross thread it. Fortunately, Mike's an expert. We just won't say at what.
Just don't know if there's enough room to get the socket in now. Oh yeah, just.
Did you already start the thread?
Yeah.
Oh. Everything feel good?
Feels good so far.
You don't have a lot of room to work between your differential and that Pitman arm. Alright, we got the thing bolted on. Now we're going to put in the greasable insert with the rubber O-rings so that you can grease this new unit.
Yep. Keep going.
That's as far as I can go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that doesn't have to be like super tight. It just has to hold grease.
Yeah, that's all.
And if you look, if you do turn your bars all the way to the
can get to the
left,
grease now.
you can get to the grease fitting just fine from the side. So we've installed the part. Everything's tight. Next step is going to be tie rods.
Yeah, I'm gonna fill it full of grease first.
Okay, we're going to grease it, but then we're going to put on our tie rod ends and connect back up to our steering, and we'll do alignment last. what's Mike doing? He's wrapping string around the entire machine to align it. And when he does, he'll cross each tire right at the center. So right across the axle nut, working his way around the machine. And what that's going to do, it's going to tell us our gap between that string and the side of the tire. As you can see right here, looking down over the top of this wheel, it is seriously turned. That's a better angle of it. Seriously turned, and my bars are straight right now. Now on this side, it's a little bit off. See that gap in the string there? So we're gonna actually tighten that up and do toe in 1/8 of an inch. All right, so we had the camera shut off there while we were finishing up alignment, but we got the machine aligned. Just gonna button up a couple other things with cables that I had to test on, and we're gonna go take it for a rip. We'll see you on the trail. And she's still running rough. I gotta hook it up to buds. See what fault codes have been thrown. I definitely think the the throttle position sensor, that was at fault for my problem at round 2. Idle just keeps skipping on it. You can hear it drop off right there for a fraction of a second. Impressed with the steering.
feel?
I can't focus on the steering. I'm too focused on it running.
Running like shit still?
No.
It sounds good.
It's running like it's got still an issue at lower RPMs. On the throttle, it doesn't seem that bad. Everything seems okay. I don't want to say perfect, but steering is real nice. Started doing it again.
Yeah, right here I can hear it.
Yeah. So I just got back from a test ride with it. The whole purpose of this video was the steering. So that part, 2 thumbs up. It worked great. The J parts, Pitman Arm, really took out the slop that I was feeling. And I like the toe-in feel. Just I can feel the tightness that I didn't have before. I had a little bit more slop, which is obvious because that part was so worn out.
Yeah.
But I appreciate the guy you got it from.
Yep. So I'm sponsored by North Country Motors up in Governor, New York. Trevor Brunette, he's the one he's a J parts dealer. Pretty much the only guy, I believe, besides J parts.
Where you can get those items.
Yep, where you can get the Pitman Arms and stuff. And they make a bunch of CanAm parts. So if you need anything, go see him.
Trevor
Brunette. Trevor Brunette.
Thank you, Trevor, for my hookup, and thank you, Mike, for that hookup and your help on the wrenches.
Yeah.
I'm going to cut the video short because it's still not quite running right. I did get the problem from round 2 to reappear, and it happened after I did just a mild rip and then shut the machine off to talk to Mike for a second, turned it back on, and had throttle issues. Like you could tell, you were giving it something and it just wasn't responding. So I think I got maybe more issues than just that throttle position sensor, but I got to hook it up to buds to figure that out. So tomorrow I'll go into the shop and hook it up to the computer and try to figure out what's going on with this thing, because the race is Sunday.
Big one.
Yeah, this is a fun one. So round 3, Seneca Highlands is next with NYOA, and I want to be there on Sunday, so we'll get this thing dialed in. But in the meantime, thank you guys for watching this video. If you need help with a Pitman Arm install, talk to this guy over here at Barone Boys Racing. His contact info will be in the description of the video. We'll see you guys at the racing. See this? Lost some powder coat there. Must have been round 2 when I shoved Dustin off the racetrack.